Okay, so today you're spending another week in my kitchen with me. We're going to start out with a grocery haul, and I also made some yummy things for dinner this week that I think are perfect for fall. I made some homemade French onion soup, as well as some pigs in a blanket with puff pastry. I also made some homemade potato soup and kind of a charcuterie plate, which is a really simple and delicious dinner. And then we had homecoming this week, and a bunch of Kira's friends that came over, so I made a pasta bar for them, which this is a great way to feed a lot of people, especially teenagers, for not a whole lot of money. So I'm going to share with you how I put all of that together. But first, the grocery haul. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys my Walmart order today before I go into cooking for this week. So I got kind of a smaller order. I didn't really need very much. I want to focus on using what I have here in the house. I did get a bag of Granny Smith apples. Connor has been liking apples with peanut butter as a snack. I got some onions because I have been craving French onion soup and I want to make some for dinner tonight. So I got a bag of these. You guys will see that later in the video. I think I'm going to use the recipe from New York Times. Hi. I start talking, so you got to come in here. Are you nosy? Are you nosy? I got a 2-pound box of strawberries to cut up for the kids, some green onions, and then 2 of these little salads for lunches this week. The pizza ranch and then the citrus crunch. I got these for the kids' lunch boxes. It's the Philadelphia cheesecake crumble desserts. Some sliced turkey because we were out of that. I got some basil because I've got some burrata in the fridge I want to use up. Connor asked for these sharp cheddar cheese sticks, so I got those. I got this one for Kira. Cracker Barrel Gruyere cheese for the French onion soup. Some yellow American cheese slices because we were all out of those. I got some salami. I've been packing Connor this on Hawaiian rolls for his lunches. And then I got some English muffins just to have on hand for breakfast. Sugar-free Jell-O, some beef stock for the French onion soup, some white wine for the French onion soup. Kool-Aid jammers for the kids' lunch boxes, some Nutella because we were all out of that, cream of chicken soup just to replenish the pantry, some goldfish crackers. Kids like putting those in their lunch also. I know, you are so loud and obnoxious. I got a couple more of the Celsius energy drinks for Adam and I. Connor's been liking smoothies also. And I normally like to put a yogurt in there, so to give it some extra protein. So I got that, some strawberry applesauce, some half and half just for coffee. And then I already put these in the freezer, just plain vanilla ice cream sandwiches. And then Connor has been wanting one of these Circle like flavored water bottles. So I ordered this one for him. He took it to school, so I don't have it right now. But this one is metal. I thought it would hold up a little bit better and keep things colder. But basically you just put these cartridges in there and it flavors the water as you drink it. I got one blue raspberry cartridge, which didn't come with this, and that's the one he's using right now. But this one came with blackberry, blueberry, and berry blue punch. So if you guys have used these before and you have a favorite flavor of cartridge, let me know in the comments below so I know which one to buy. Okay, so I wanted to hop in here real quick and let you guys know that today's video is sponsored by Factor. You guys know I travel a lot for work. In fact, I'm in a hotel room right now, but I'm getting ready to go home today. And so I actually have a Factor box waiting for me when I get home, which is gonna give me lunches for the next 6 days, which is something I do a lot with them, and it helps me eat out less and helps me eat healthier, especially for lunch. These were the meals I picked out this week. I've tried a couple of these before. The Italian sausage and tortellini one is really good. I've had the honey mustard chicken one before, which is great as well. This fall, I'm sure you've got a lot going on outside the kitchen, so Factor can help you by delivering fresh, nutritious, chef-prepared meals that are ready to eat in just 2 minutes. You just pop them in the microwave, and they also have a lot of variety. So whether you are watching your calories or maximizing your protein intake or just simply trying to eat more balanced, Factor has tons of options for you. I really like it on weeks that I'm super busy and I don't have time to meal prep or think about what I'm going to have for lunch. So it definitely cuts down on cooking and grocery trips. They're also super flexible, so you can easily adjust your order size or even skip a week if you're going to be out of town. So if you guys want to try Factor, I highly recommend them. This is the perfect time to do do it, you can head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code Chapin50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Yes, that's half off. And you're also going to get 20% off your next month of orders. That's code Chapin50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. We are heading into the busy fall and holiday season, so I hope you guys take advantage of this awesome coupon and check them out. All right, so it's dinner time on Tuesday, and this is what we're gonna make for dinner. So I've got 3.5 pounds of yellow onions here for my French onion soup. I'm gonna go ahead and start slicing those up. I'm gonna melt some butter in my Dutch oven and get those caramelizing because it'll take about 45 minutes. Whenever you're chopping something and you're trying to transfer it to the pan, I highly recommend a bench scraper. So I'll link the one I have down below. Of course, it's OXO brand, but any brand works. Okay, so that took me a long time to chop up all those onions, or slice them all rather. But I've got them in here with half a teaspoon of salt and half a stick of butter. If I didn't tell you guys, I'm using the recipe from the New York Times cooking app. It is a paid app, and I do subscribe to it because I love their recipes. So I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. You might be able to get it free on their website too, I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm gonna cover these. The recipe says to cover and let it cook for 5 minutes and then remove the lid and let them caramelize the rest of the way. So for the croutons or bread for the French onion soup, I'm gonna use this well-grained sourdough bread. So I just preheated the oven to 400 and I just need to bake this for 18 to 22 minutes. At where?
Gators.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my whole life, up until like a couple years ago, I was always just making pigs in a blanket with refrigerated crescent rolls. You guys, if you've never done them before with frozen puff pastry, it is so much better. And what I like to do is like cut the hot dogs smaller. So I don't wrap them whole. I wrap them with like smaller pieces of puff pastry. And this is all just like eyeballed and dependent on the size of hot dogs that I have. So I will link the recipe down below that I found online that shows you like how to bake them. But obviously it's super simple. You just roll up the hot dogs in the puff pastry. You don't want it to overlap too much, but just kind of press it down. I brush them with egg wash and sprinkle them with some coarse salt, but these are great and so much better than the crescent rolls. All right, so you can see that these onions have sufficiently caramelized. I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 cup of white wine to the pan. And I'm also gonna add 1 tablespoon of flour. And then I want to basically, actually, I probably need to get a whisk here, just a second. And then what I'm gonna do is reduce the wine while I'm kind of letting those brown bits, you know, come up from the bottom of the pan here. Next, I'm gonna add 8 cups of beef stock or broth. I guess technically this is beef stock, although it's out of a container, so no judgment here. So some of the comments said to cut the bread into cubes and then like make croutons out of it before putting it on the soup. So that's what I'm gonna do. My pigs in a blanket are almost done. So here's how the soup turned out. So I'm just kind of letting this sit here on warm while I make the croutons. I went ahead and shredded my Gruyere cheese as well. So I've got the broiler preheated, and these soup crocks I got like years ago. I think they're actually like Rachel Ray brand. So I'm gonna put some of the croutons on top of there. And then a handful of this shredded Gruyere, and then I'll put these under the broiler. I'll watch it probably, I don't know, 4 minutes maybe. I feel like French onion soup is such a labor of love, but it's so delicious, and I haven't made it for so long. I think I'm gonna go back to the original recipe that I used before, which I believe was Pioneer Woman's recipe. This one was okay. I did have to add a few pinches of sugar because I felt like the broth was a little bit bitter. But other than that, it turned out really good. I actually had extra, so I froze the leftovers, and our pigs in a blanket were nice and crispy on the bottom. Since we've been having more fall-like weather lately, I thought it would be good to make potato soup tonight for dinner, so that is what I'm gonna do. I have not showed you guys this recipe in a while. It's actually from my cookbook, or a version of it is anyway. I really don't use a recipe anymore for this, but I went ahead and peeled my potatoes, rinsed those off, and then I'm just finally chopping up some onion. I'm going to get that in a pot with a drizzle of olive oil, and then I also like to add half a stick of butter, just for that butter flavor. And then I also like to add garlic, fresh garlic, if I have it on hand. I think it makes the flavor so much better, but you could also use garlic powder if you wanted to. This recipe is very simple, and it's also very, very cheap. You can buy a 5-pound bag of potatoes. You're probably only going to use maybe like a third of the bag of potatoes, and you can use the rest of them for something else. But the ingredients to this are very simple. It's basically just onions, potatoes, butter, like I said, a little bit of oil, garlic if you have it. And then you make the broth with either chicken bouillon, or you could use, canned chicken broth, or even prepared chicken broth. I'm going to use the Knorr chicken stock. So after I chop the potatoes and put them into the pot, I added about 6 cups of water, and then I'm going to add 6 teaspoons of the Knorr powdered chicken stock. This gives it a really great flavor and also adds salt, which you really need with potatoes. So I'm going to let those cook until they're tender. I went ahead and took the croissants out of the oven to cool for a little bit and finish baking. These are from Wild Grain. They are delicious. I still have a coupon code with them, so if you want to try Wild Grain, I'll have that link also in the description box below. I washed up some grapes. After the potatoes have simmered for about 15 to 20 minutes, you want to make sure they're tender all the way through. I'm going to whisk up a little bit of half and half, maybe a cup or a little bit less, with a 1/4 cup of flour. And I just whisk that together just to make sure everything is combined. And then I'll go ahead and pour that kind of thickener into the hot broth with the potatoes. And then you'll want to add some additional milk. If you have whole milk, definitely use it for this because it will give the soup more flavor, but really you can use whatever milk that you have on hand. And then the last step that I like to do is thicken the soup with mashed potato flakes. I would say maybe about half a cup of those, depending on how thick that you want it. And then just season it to taste with more salt and pepper. I like to add shredded cheese, some oyster crackers, and then if you have green onions on hand, which I had a few, that makes a really great addition as well. So highly recommend adding those. But this was a really simple dinner. Everyone loves it. They can put what they want on top of it. If you have crumbled bacon, you can add that also. And then on the side, we had some grapes, some cheese, nuts, crackers, and some salami. It was a perfect fall dinner for a busy sports night. Okay, so this week was homecoming, and obviously we had the homecoming dance on Saturday, and Kira wanted to have a bunch of her friends over to get ready and kind of hang out before the game. And so when she wants to do that, or actually when either of my kids want to have friends over, one of the things I really like to make is a pasta bar. I don't go like over the top. I basically just make a few types of pasta sauce, some pasta, garlic bread, and salad. Teenagers love it. Kids love it. It's a super easy way to feed a bunch of kids. So I'm getting some water going for my pasta. And then you just saw me browning up some ground beef. I'm just going to use a pound. I'm seasoning it with salt, pepper, garlic powder, dried Italian herbs, all of that good stuff. And then I'm going to add 2 jars of marinara sauce, which was more than enough. I want to say she had 4 or 5 friends over. I'm also going to make Alfredo sauce, so they're going to have a different option as well. So after I got the sauce in there, I just seasoned that to taste and then put a lid on it and let it simmer while I go ahead and cook the pasta. One of the things you can do, especially when you're doing a pasta bar like this, is to keep the pasta and sauces warm in crock pots if you want. You just basically drizzle the cooked pasta with olive oil, add it to the crock pot, keep it warm. It works great. So I'm going to go ahead and cook my pasta, and then I am also getting some salad together. So if you just take a head of iceberg lettuce and bang it on the counter, the core will fall out rather easily. You just have to pull it out. And then I'm just going to dice this into pieces and add it to my salad spinner. I decided to go this route with the head of lettuce because honestly, I cannot stand the price of groceries right now. So I figured it would be just as easy to chop up a head of lettuce for like $1.69 versus pay like what, $2 or $3 for the bag of pre-chopped iceberg. Plus I'm going to get more that way anyway. So I'm just putting that into my salad spinner, and then I'll put this under cold water. If you like Olive Garden salad, which I have no shame, I love Olive Garden salad, definitely make it at home. It's super easy. Plus you can obviously buy the Olive Garden dressing at the store. But I'm going to go ahead and cook my chicken breast. I just have 6 chicken breasts that I thawed out of the freezer, and I just season these really simply with salt and pepper and some garlic powder, and I'm just sauteing them in a skillet with some olive oil, basically about 4 minutes per side. These weren't too thick, so you just want to kind of get them browned on the outside and cooked all the way through. And I do use a piece of foil while they're cooking just to kind of help them cook through, so they won't burn on the outside. And once those are done, I just kept them warm in the skillet. And then when the pasta was done, I drained that, added it to my crock pot, drizzled some olive oil in. I probably should have drizzled a little bit more because this did kind of stick together a little bit, but that's fine. Put it on warm. It doesn't need to be much higher than that. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the Alfredo sauce. So I used 3 packets of this Knorr Alfredo. I know that this is obviously not homemade Alfredo, but this packet stuff, when you mix it with milk and butter and cook it on the stove, it tastes so much better to me than jarred Alfredo, and I think it's less expensive also. For garlic bread, I just got the Texas toast and I put that out on a big sheet tray, adding that to the oven. We obviously have a lot going on finishing cooking at this point, so trying to keep all the plates in the air. I'm going to finish the salad, so I'm going to add some cucumber. I added some cherry tomatoes just because that's what I had on hand. Some black olives I feel like are a must in that salad. I did also add a little bit of red onion and then some freshly grated Parmesan cheese, some croutons. Again, this is so good, and the kids didn't actually eat much of it. I feel like with salad, you never know how much teenagers are going to eat. Sometimes they eat a lot of it, sometimes they don't, but I purposely did not dress it ahead of time so that I could save leftovers in the fridge. So at this point, my Alfredo sauce is done. So I'm just whisking that, and I'm going to keep it warm over like a very low heat just so it doesn't seize up on me. And then I'm going to go ahead and slice this chicken. I have to say the chicken Alfredo was definitely more popular than the pasta with marinara sauce, but we definitely had more than enough food for everybody. And we also had leftovers, which this makes great leftovers as well. So you can see there that most of the chicken is gone. By the time everyone got done eating, that was all the way gone. We have our Alfredo sauce, and then the salad, like I said, which I had leftovers of. And then I also set out like the extra olives I had, some different kinds of dressing just in case anyone wanted ranch dressing instead, and my garlic bread. But that is what I cooked for dinner this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out Factor. You guys can get half off your first box, so please take advantage of that. I'll have the link in the description box below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.